Chapter 12. That outbreak took place on Tuesday morning. Tuesday afternoon and Tuesday night, Benoit went away as usual. Wednesday afternoon and again Wednesday night. It was not Haynes's business at all, but he felt irritated with the man. After all, he still lived at number 2, and it would cost him nothing to exercise a little restraint. Every time, as soon as he left, the talk broke out in the yard. "But you ever see a thing like this? The man ain't got no shame. If was me, I'd throw all his clothes in the canal." On Thursday morning, he did not turn out to work. At 7 o'clock, he came into Haynes's room dressed in his new brown suit and asked Haynes to give him a recommendation. "A recommendation?" "Yes, a recommendation. I am going to look for a job down at the West Indies Trading Company. The manager know the nurse. She attend to his wife and they like her. They make her a nice present, and she asked him about a job for me." Haynes said no. The idea of his giving a recommendation was absurd. He was a person of no consequence and could not give any recommendation. "But Haynes, man, don't let me down. All you have to say is that I am your landlord, and you know me to be a trustworthy and so on. You know how to wield the pen, man." "But I have no right." "Nonsense, man. Here is the pen. Here is a piece of paper. This is to certify. Come on, Haynes. It costs you nothing. Oblige a friend." Haynes sat down and wrote. "Read it," he said, giving it to Benoit. "No need to read it," said Benoit, folding the sheet of notepaper and taking up an envelope from the table. "Yes, man, I am going down. The nurse told me that a man of my appearance have no right making cakes. She says she will help me to get a good job. Right-o, Haynes." He left, but he came back quickly. "This is between us, eh?" he said, and winked knowingly. "As you say," said Haynes. "Honor bright?" "You can depend on me." Benoit had not gone 5 minutes when there was a knock at the door. Mrs. Rouse, thought Haynes, and it was. "Come in, madam," he said, and offered her a chair. "No, Mr. Haynes, I am not for long." The difference between her appearance today and before, when she had led Haynes into that very room, made him realize more than imagination could what she had gone through. Then she was a stout housewife, slightly careworn but cheerful, hopeful of the future, if even things were not as bright as she wished. Today she was a defeated woman, in her eyes a hunted look which she no longer took the trouble to disguise, sustained merely by the necessity to keep the wheels of her business going. And Haynes felt deeply sorry for her, and felt, too, that by talking and laughing with Benoit he was doing Mrs. Rouse a great wrong, and was aware that it was stupid of him to feel that way, but could never entirely rid himself of the feeling whenever he stood face to face with Mrs. Rouse. He waited for her to speak. "You must excuse me interrupting you, Mr. Haynes," she began, and her voice was thin and quavering. "But I hope Mr. Benoit has not been worrying you about anything." "No, Mrs. Rouse, he hasn't worried me at all." "I saw him with an envelope. I hope you didn't endorse any promissory note for him." "No, Mrs. Rouse, it wasn't that." "Never do anything like that for him, Mr. Haynes. He is not a man to trust." She looked searchingly at Haynes. "He didn't ask you to lend him money?" "No, Mrs. Rouse, he didn't. He didn't, really." "All right, Mr. Haynes, I believe you. But I wonder what that man is up to now. God have mercy on me." "It is nothing important, Mrs. Rouse," said Haynes. "What was it, Mr. Haynes? I want to know. Tell me, Mr. Haynes." "Don't mind any promises you made to him. I am the woman who with all my troubles have to bear the burden of this house.